So, what exactly do you do when you find out that someone is suicidal? Whether you are there or you are not there, what exactly can you do as a person to lend a helping hand? This is not about you providing the final care or final cure, but as a form of first aid to that person before such a person is referred to the hospital or to see a therapist. What to do when someone is suicidal? Hello, my name is Toluse Francis, and I'm here because I love to educate people about mental health. You can find me on Instagram at Toluse Francis, this YouTube on at Toluse Francis, on Twitter at Toluse Francis. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification button so you can get subsequent posts. Now let's begin by looking at suicide terminologies. Now, suicide terminologies are some words that are used when it comes to suicide matters. You need to familiarize yourself with some of these words so that you would understand what exactly they mean each time you hear them and not be ignorant of them. So let's look at them one after the other. Suicide ideation. Suicide ideation has to do with thought. This is when someone has thought about suicide. They have not committed the suicide, they have not carried out the act, but they are still thinking about it. That's why its characteristic action is thought. You can't see it, all right, but they are thinking about it. So it's called suicide ideation. The other one is suicidal threat. Now this one is when they make a certain intent to end life. They have told you they are going to end their life, all right. It is not that they want to end someone else's life, but their own life. Now when this happens, you understand that this is a threat that they are making. Now note, it is not an empty threat, but it is a threat as it were. So when they begin to say things like, I just want to die, I will just die now and nobody will know, I will just die and nothing would happen, it is clearly a sign that they are going or they're about to take their own life. The other one we look at is suicidal gesture. Now when you hear of suicidal gesture, this is when they start inflicting injuries on themselves. It is called non-lethal self-injury. It's like self-harming. Yeah, let me use that word, self-harming. When they start self-harming themselves, then you know at that point that it is a suicidal gesture and you don't take that lightly. It's important that you act on that fast as well. And the final one is suicide attempt. This of course is serious method with intent. All right, they have thought about it, they have made some threats about it, they have shown some gestures, and then this is the attempt. Of course, suicide is not put here because at that point the person has already completed the act. All right, so you can see that there is a flow. There's a flow for this suicide thing. So there's a flow for anyone who wants to attempt suicide or anyone who finally completes suicide. There's first of all the thought, then you have the intent to end life, then you have self-harming, which is non-lethal, and then you have serious method with intent, which is the attempt itself. Now, how do you assess suicidal potential? So the first thing is to ask yourself or that person, is there a plan? Now, when someone reaches out to you or you notice something, ensure to find out if there is a plan that a person has laid down already. So the more developed the plan, the greater the risk of completing that suicide. The next thing to assess is what method is a person planning to use, how lethal it is, how available is it. If it is very lethal and if it's readily available, then you know that there's a very high chance of that person completing that act. So you need to also find out what method. Rescue, does people try to block? Is the person trying to block people from coming out to help, or is there any obstruction whatsoever? Another thing to find out is, can patient carry out plan? Does he have the energy to carry out that plan? Does he have the energy to go on with the threat or the gesture? And finally, are there inhibitors? Does the person have a reason to leave? Is the person convinced that there is a reason to leave? These are assessments of suicidal potentials that we all need to know if at any point we realize that someone is suicidal, first of all, find out if there is a plan, and find out if the plan is already developed, because the more developed, the greater the risk. Another thing that you need to find out is what method is this person trying to make use of. All right, then is there a rescue operation? Can the patient carry out the plan? Are there inhibitors? Now, all this you can only know when you engage this person. You cannot know if you just sit down there and you're just talking with the person, but you need to ask these questions in some subtle way. So for example, you can say, so how do you intend to do this? How do you intend to carry out this plan? What do you intend to use? All right, has anyone tried to stop you in the past? All right, and then you now begin to ask, are you sure you can actually do this? Do you think you're strong enough to do this? All right, and or you can begin to find out if the person is depressed or something, and then you may now begin to find out, so do you think there's any reason for you to leave, or do you think there's no reason at all, you just want to go? This is not in a way trying to undermine the ability of that person to carry out the act, right? But it also gives you a view of what to do and how fast to act. All right, so let's look at some common misconceptions about suicide. There is a myth that says people who talk about suicide won't really do it, but that's not true. Almost everyone who attempts suicide has given some clue or warning. Don't ignore even indirect references to death or suicide. So like I said, that when you start hearing statements like, you'll be sorry when I'm gone, I can't see any way out, no matter how casually or joking it is said, this may indicate serious suicide feelings. So people who talk about suicide won't really do it, it's not true. It's a myth. All right, so don't live in that frame of mind that people who make such statements don't actually commit it. The other myth I want us to look at is anyone who tries to kill him or herself must be crazy. Hell no. Most suicidal people are not psychotic or insane. They are upset, they are grief-stricken, they are depressed or despairing. All right, of course, not everyone who tries to commit suicide is depressed, right? So that's why we have some who are grief-stricken, there are some who are just upset, there are some who are despairing. But extreme stress and emotional pain are not necessarily signs of mental illness. So that a person wants to die by suicide doesn't mean the person is mentally ill. All right, if a person is determined to kill himself or herself, nothing is going to stop them. You can try. Even the most severely depressed person has mixed feelings about death. Nobody really wants to die. Nobody is happy dying. They are scared as well. All right, they're also scared of dying. All right, so do not think that because they have said it, it means that nobody can stop them. The impulse to end it all can be overpowering. All right, but again, does not last forever. Sometimes just reaching out to that person can save that person extra 50-20 years. All right, the next myth that we'll look at is people who die by suicide are people who are unwilling to seek help. That again is not true. All right, because the truth of the matter is, that again is not true. The truth of the matter is, studies of suicide victims have been shown that more than half sought medical help in the 6 months prior to their death. A lot of them do seek help in the months prior to their death. So that they are willing to seek help is not totally true as well. And the final myth we'll be looking at is talking about suicide may give someone the idea. You don't give a suicidal person morbid idea by talking about suicide. The opposite is true. Bringing up the subject of suicide and discussing it openly is one of the most helpful things you can do. Not talking about suicide. And talking about the method, yes, is what can encourage someone to, but talking about suicide doesn't encourage anyone to go ahead and try it or die by suicide. All right, we need to talk about it, but when you are talking about how it is done, that is where the problem is. All right, so it's not about how it is done that we should be talking about. It's talking about suicide and bringing that awareness to people. All right, now talking about suicide, anyone talking about suicide, drug or self-harm, such as I wish I had not been born, I want to see you again, I'd better be off dead. All right, they also need to check seeking leather means. So all these are warning signs. All these are warning signs. So the warning signs are, there are always warning signs, but we sometimes are not paying attention to those warning signs. All right, so what are some warning signs? You have them talking about suicide, you have them seeking out access to lethal things like guns, pills, knives, other objects that could be used. You have them unusually focused on death, dying of violence, writing poems or stories about death. You have them feeling helpless, hopeless, or being trapped when they say things like there's no way out. The belief that things will never get better or change. You have some showing signs of self hatred or self-loathing, feelings of worthlessness, feelings of guilt, feelings of shame and self-hatred, feelings like a burden. All right, so you can hear things like everyone will be better off without me. All right, another sign is when you hear things like, when you see them getting affairs in order, so like they're writing out a will, they're giving away their prized possessions, they're making arrangements for family members. Yeah, so that's another sign that we need to look at. Saying goodbye. All right, this I see a lot these days on Twitter. When you begin to see unexpected visits, all right, or calls to family members, saying goodbye to people as if they won't be seen again. Some even just write it on Twitter. Well, I'm gone, I'm sorry, you won't see me again, and all that. Another one is withdrawing from others, withdrawing from friends, families, increasing social isolation. Everyone needs to pay attention to this. Once you notice that there's an increasing social isolation from a person, please and please, as much as possible, pay attention to such a person. There is that desire to be left alone. This is another one. When you see self-destructive behaviors, e.g., increased alcohol or drug use, reckless driving, unsafe sex, taking unnecessary risk as if they have a death wish, and finally, sudden sense of calm. There's just this sudden sense of calm and happiness after being extremely depressed. All right, this can mean that the person has made a decision to attempt suicide. So these are warning signs of suicide. These signs are there, we just need to pay attention to them. Don't see them as being normal. When people are showing them, they are not normal. So there is this quote that I saw that says suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Now, when people say that suicide is not an option, I try to disagree with them, because when a person gets to that point where he begins to think, or she begins to think about suicide, it is because the person believes that that's the only option. So it is an option, but it is not the best option. And it's not the best option because it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. All right, and because it's going to cause a whole lot of issues, a whole lot of discomfort whatsoever it may be, in so many ways. So it is not the best option at all, but we don't even want people to even think about it as an option in the first place. All right, but what does an option mean? That's where we should start from. An option basically just means that you have multiple things to choose from, but you decide to choose one. All right, and when someone gets to that point or that state of mind where he feels like all hope is lost, everything is not worth having, or life is not worth living, and the person concludes that the best thing for me to do is to give up my life, then you can not come and tell the person that suicide is not an option, but you can tell the person that suicide is not the best option at this point. Let's look at other options and let's see how we can make life better. So what are the do's and don'ts of suicide? Number one, ensure that you say something. All right, not saying something is not good at all. But what then do you say? See that in the next slide. So when someone puts some of those warning signs forward, or shows some of those signs, not saying anything is not good enough. Just say something. Yeah, ensure that you say something to that person. I'm going to share in the next slide what you can say to such a person. Now, what are the don'ts of suicide? What shouldn't you do? What shouldn't you say? Don't make a joke out of their intent. Don't for any reason make a joke out of their suicidal intent. All right, don't tell them not to kill themselves because they are great. No, because they already feel like they are not great, and that is why they are thinking that way. So don't tell them not to kill themselves because they are great. Don't change the subject altogether. Do not change the subject from what they are talking about, because when you're done with them changing the subject, they are going to come back to that thought. So do not try to change the subject. So let me mention again, don't make a joke out of their intent. Don't tell them not to kill themselves because they are great. Don't change the subject altogether. What then do you say to someone who is suicidal? 8 simple things to say to a suicidal person. Come on, let's look at it together. Number 1, tell them you're worried about them. Many suicidal people feel like people do not understand the gravity of the situation, or the immense, unbearable, incomprehensible amount of pain you have to be in to legitimately want to die. So tell them you hear them, tell them you see it, and tell them you're worried. This gives them an assurance that you are trying to understand where they're coming from and what they're going through. I also understand that it is difficult for them to take their own life. It wasn't a decision that was easy for them to arrive at. Alright, and that you're worried about them, so they are not alone. You're worried about what they're going through, and so they're not alone. This can help boost their confidence to an extent. Number 2, ask if they have a therapist. Alright, so maybe they've already told their therapist about their being suicidal, and sometimes maybe not. So maybe their therapist sucks, maybe it's not meeting up to standard. Maybe they're working on it, but it's still hard. Sometimes they may not have a therapist, and so you can help them find one. Whatever the case may be, ask. Alright, ask if they have a therapist, but also make it clear that you're still there to talk and not just pointing them off on a therapist. So let them know that you're still available to talk to them. Let them know that you're still available to listen to them, even if they have a therapist. Even if they don't have a therapist, please go ahead and get them one. Alright, you can get them one to talk to, but still do not leave them hanging. Alright, go hang out with them. Yes, if you can, please hang out with them. All that is needed maybe is just to sit down and listen to them, nothing more. They may not be asking you to do just anything, but just a visit to them, just a sit down with them can save a whole lot of stress and ease them a whole lot, and still give them that confidence that someone indeed still cares about them. Alright, so please just try and see if you can hang out with them. Number 4, bring them something small that shows you're thinking about them. You can get them something small, not so big, smoothie, juice, key holder, key ring, or something that they love if you know it. Remind them that there are still good things in the world and that you care. Something small, they still would appreciate it. Remember, they did not ask for it, but you thought about it and you brought it for them. They will be excited about it because they're suicidal and sometimes they're depressed. So the next time you see them, remember them and take something along. Number 5, reach out to them if they haven't reached out to you. So you have seen this person in a long while, alright, or you have seen what they've been writing and they've not reached out to you, or you've had a first meeting and all that, but you've not heard from them in a long time. Please reach out to them. Alright, your friend may be posting questionable tweets or Facebook status or WhatsApp status or Instagram post, and you have a feeling that something is seriously wrong. Alright, if they're not reaching out to you, email them, send them a DM. Alright, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, send them a DM. Alright, go to their WhatsApp if it's a WhatsApp status, reply the WhatsApp status, ask questions, reach out to them. If you have their email, send them an email. Do all you can to ask all that you need to ask. Alright, tell them they can talk to you. Let them know that you're still interested in them. Number 6, tell them you have no idea what that must feel like. Never ever tell anyone you understand the fact that they want to take their lives. No. Even if you've been through some serious shit, do not say, I know what you mean. Don't ever say that. Alright, just let them know that you have no idea what it must feel like. Alright, but you're still interested in trying to understand them. This makes them know that you are interested in getting to know better what they're feeling. Do not bring your own experience, do not bring your own moment into it. Get them to share with you what they are going through. And then number 7, excuse me, tell them you don't want them to die. Yes, tell them clearly. You might be thinking, of course I don't want them to die, that should be obvious. No, it may not be obvious, but you still need to tell them that you don't want them to die. When you're able to tell them that you don't want them to die, It gives them that confidence that someone indeed cares about them. Alright, so tell them that you don't want them to die. Let them know that you are interested in them being there. So it's possible for you to have it in your mind that, well, but it's obvious I don't want this person to die. But what you don't say is never obvious. Nobody can read your thoughts. Nobody can read your mind. You can only know what you're saying. What you do not say, we cannot know. Alright, so it's important that you tell us what you're thinking. Let us know what your thoughts are. So it is very different as well from saying don't die, I love hanging out with you. Telling that you don't want him to die is not the same as don't die, I love hanging out with you. No, not the same at all. This is different entirely from this. So tell them you don't want him to die, but don't go tell them don't die, I love hanging out with you. No matter what their reasons are for wanting to die, hearing someone they know say they don't want them to die is huge. Alright, so it is about them, not about you. Alright, but when you tell them don't die, I love hanging out with you, it's about you now, and that's being selfish. They don't really care that they make your life super fun, because that is really painful right now. So you need to frame it properly and say it properly. Number 8, tell them you have no idea what to say. So if you don't know what to say, it's fine. Let them know that you have no idea, you don't know what to say, but they can trust you, that you want to learn, or that you get them someone to talk to. It is better than fumbling or saying jargons. It is better than saying something that will end up being hurtful. So if you don't know what to say, please be truthful to them that I'm sorry, I really don't know what to say right now, so I think I should just get to someone who would understand better and who would be able to help. However, I am here to listen to you. Alright, so I hope this has been helpful to you. Alright, and I hope that now you know what to say to someone who is suicidal. You can reach out to me on Instagram, on Twitter at Toluse Francis. I am a therapist, so you can refer to me. You know, if you have anyone you don't know how to talk to about suicide. So let's look at the 8 things to say against someone who's suicidal from behind. Number 8, tell them you have no idea what to say if you do not have what to say. Number 7, tell them you don't want them to die. Don't tell them that you don't want them to die because you're hanging out with them. Number 6, tell them you have no idea what that must feel like if you do not understand. Don't bring your shit, don't bring your own experience into it. Number 5, reach out to them if they haven't reached out to you in a while. Okay. Number 4, bring them something small that shows you're thinking about them. And number 3, go hang out with them. Number 2, ask if they have a therapist. And number 1, tell them you're worried about them. I hope that you have learned some valuable points from this video. Like I said earlier, please do share with your friends and family members so that everyone has the knowledge of what to say when they find someone who is suicidal, either through their tweets or their communications with them. Also take note of all the signs that has been shared in this video. You can drop your questions in the comments section below. Alright, and then you can also send me a message if you have any questions you want me to answer personally. My email is down in the comment section. You can always send me an email. You can also head out to Udemy and check out my courses on mental health issues. Till I come your way again, it's bye for now.